Now, over 190,000 full-time and part-time candidates are registered to write their National Senior Certificate exams in KwaZulu-Natal this year. Candidates kicked off by writing English Paper 1 this morning. Over 600 schools in the province were destroyed by floods in April, and 137 schools, 3 educational centres and 8 circuit offices were damaged in KwaZulu-Natal during the July unrest. Now, let's discuss this further. We're now joined via Zoom by KwaZulu-Natal Department of Education Head of Department Nathi Ngcobo. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Mr. Ngcobo. First day of exams today, of course. Are you happy with how things went today?
Good afternoon to you and your viewers. Indeed, we were quite pleased to report that today's paper went off smoothly. The weather was not that bad. It's raining now, but it didn't affect us at all in terms of collecting papers from the nodal points up to the schools. And I've been to a couple of schools to check, and I'm pleased to say that our learners are reporting that they believe they did reasonably well, and nothing really of concern happened today. The examination went on smoothly.
Now, of course, you're facing a number of challenges going into these exams. Over 600 schools in the province were destroyed by floods in April. And of course, 137 schools, 3 educational centres and 8 circuit offices were damaged in KZN during the July unrest. Talk to us about the impact of that on the preparations of the exams. And are you confident then that the class of 2022 will do considerably well, considering the fact that, they were the most affected by COVID-19?
Indeed, this class of 2022, when they were in grade 10 and 11, were affected by COVID-19 and July unrest here in KZN, particularly around the Durban area. But this year, fortunately, I would say that we've had almost no disruptions at all in the academic year, which gave us time to recover even time lost over the past 2 years. It's been difficult because it has meant that our teachers have had to work over weekends. Our teachers have had to sacrifice their school holidays to try and prepare the learners for the examination that started in earnest today. The floods came at the backdrop of all that. But fortunately, when the floods came, we planned a recovery. I mean, we designed a recovery plan, and the actual number of days that were lost because of the flood varied from school to school. But we designed individual programs where schools could catch up, and I can confidently say that from the problems caused by the flood, they have caught up, because we gave them, alternative learning spaces in their own schools where schools had been affected. The Department of Transport and other departments came to the party and assisted in terms of rebuilding bridges and roads that had been causing problems in terms of access to the schools. So we worked quite around the clock to ensure that there were minimal learning losses. Even with learners who were in shelters, we made sure that they are not disadvantaged by getting them alternative schooling spaces closest to the alternative shelters where they were. We know all of them by name and by grade, and we assisted them where they were, be it through psychological services, as well as academic, catch-up programs, so that they are on par with everyone else, despite the fact that they've had that misfortune of losing their homes and in some cases losing their books. We did everything to assist them to recover from that. So we are confident that our results will probably be even better than last year's results, given the fact that we had almost, a trouble-free academic year in terms of, disruptions such as COVID-19. or any unrest. There was no labor unrest. There was no disturbance at all of classes this year, which assisted then, because if there had been disturbances, that would have compounded the problem. The fact that for 2 years these learners had suffered learning losses.
I think it's a great, and noble kind of ambition to want to achieve. I believe it's around about 80%, in these exams. But is it not too ambitious, perhaps? I mean, if you just listen to what you're saying in terms of just the challenges in which these matriculants are being exposed to in writing these exams, and of course we haven't even factored in the fact that there is load shedding too. I mean, just how ambitious is or achievable is your plan?
We actually believe it is achievable, given the fact that we are moving from a base of 76%. And that 76% was achieved at the backdrop of COVID as well. When in 2020, when the 2021 class was in grade 11, there was almost, half a year schooling time lost. Again, in 2021, when they're in grade 12 now, they were disturbed, but we still managed to get 76%. This year, because we were able to keep the learners almost all the time at school, assisted us to recover even the learning losses. Remember, in 2020 and 2021, the curriculum was trimmed, but even though it was trimmed, the most important topics that are covered even in grade 12, I mean, that are covered from grade 10 to 12, were actually not trimmed out of the curriculum that those learners did. So that is why we're confident. In fact, our target is always 100%. The 80% we're talking about.
Unfortunately, we've lost Mr. Ngcobo there, but thank you so much, sir, for your time. Of course, he is the head of department for the education department in KwaZulu-Natal, and that's Nathi Ngcobo.